Hello, greetings, and welcome. Welcome to the East of Eden Studios here this mid June 2024, or as I like to call it, the end of the sofa here. Today we're picking up where we left off with Idlewild, the Ornaments of Time. Uh, for the more in depth introduction, you need to go back and see part one, where I lay out pretty much the origins of this and what it is exactly we're doing. But for now, for expedience sake, I'm just going to start reading it, and we will go until the phone starts ringing, or the little Shih Tzu start having psychotic episodes, or we reach the end. But if we get to going too far over, we'll stop, and there might be a part three. But for now, let's begin here where we left off with Idlewild, the Ornaments of Time. Faces in the eternal chariot of heaven, orbiting the sun for all time to come, hammered and drawn by the spirits of being, becoming and wanting, crying the tears of yesterday, yellow sadness burst forth into blinding lustrous happiness, unknown to each other, uncaring and vacuous, each charming in its own way. Snow covers the land, footprints mark the pathways between the ancient homesteads. Smoke drifts and twists and rises from the hearths, gently warming the ice-damaged souls. Winter remains the same. The hardships grab us by our garment collars, demanding we be mindful of what the clouds are saying. There is no beauty in it. They are cornfields. They have their time and place. Summer's green and the harvest yellow. It's the world of dark plowed earth and dusty old barns. Wreckage and buildings of the past hide in the field's edges. Wreckage and buildings of the past hide in the field's tenuous terminal edges. The others were here, staring blankly at the same land, waiting for beauty and truth, but producing only corn. I bide my time, and I walk the dusty roads of Idlewild, struck senseless as the dreamer, not understanding or knowing the times or seasons, but beingness of one long day and of sunrise, reaching forever towards a sunset and a harvest, being neither the sower nor the reaper, but here citizen, prisoner, scribe of the cornstalks, historian to the crows. Snow, I see no beauty in you, the hand of death and God's declaration of finality, a world where nothing partakes of life, where even fire has no vantage. Falling unmerciful white, I watch the birds scramble and panic at the few spots of disdain. A green and brown earth glimpse of life soon buried with all the others. There are other worlds. The stars recall another time in places unknown to me. Perhaps nothing more than a grasshopper staring at me from a million miles away. His life and time's gone and done before mine began, meeting our minds and thoughts halfway between here and there. Mother Earth wears her garment of virginal white. Snow and ice drape the land in its disguise, turning all in its kingdom into a white sepulchre. The blacks, browns, and bones of decay are sealed into the communal grave by a wall of clear blue ice. The green existing by magic, undaunted by adversity, a promise to return and step across the blood-spattered ivory. I see the cool browns and autumnal shades of the approaching winter. The soft yellow lights illume the sad and melancholic antechamber. I sweep away I sweep away the cinders and dust of the hardwood fires. Sweeping away out the door all, I sweep away all. Having departed, I wandered the earth. Then on the dark, lonely night I returned, greeted only by a dimly lit window. The flickering candle bespoke of communion and understanding. Walking the measure of Idlewild, repeating the names of the streets, memorizing my life, dispersing all knowledge of other realms, knowing only of home. sometimes I get kind of tangled up in my handwriting here. That's what that is. My heart remains in a dream of Christmas. The silent pastures are a canvas of white. The night sky illustrates the old days and ancient gods. The valley world of Idlewild is at peace. The home fires sustain us, and spring promises us a spring and a new world. But yet we feast at the Yule and celebrate the death of all. Christmas is a funeral, and we are compelled to reflect on its fiery dirges. In the old woods near the ruins, I saw a secret place, mysterious canopy of sylvan, shield from the sun. Shadows dance and convene amongst the mandrake and ferns. The carpet of drown, decay turns to black, time and shadow are the master here. A languid cloud floats in from the sun. For a moment, a shadow of the past walks softly over my soul. The seasons change rapidly back and forth. Walking old trails, Idlewild moves me through time. Then the cloud moves on. The sun sets everything in order as it was. Once again, I am an old man alone with trees and the ornaments of time. Let's see. Yesterday, forlorn black and white milk cows watched the giant steam locomotive squeal to a stop in Idlewild. Tracks meander off into the distance and the past. Yesterday was 100 years ago. Now only squirrels are mindful of the old train tracks. Apples of my youth, the ancient orchards of time, in that great by and by from which all history is born. Orchards of eternity spread out behind and beyond us. Flaming swords guard the entrance to the old grounds. Clocks are meaningless and have no standing in the orchards of time. Searching the shadows as they rise and fall, something is there inside the darkness of nothing. Sunlight cannot enter and never has. Inside and along the edges, dancing and drawing forth, a tripping trick of the light. Sometimes something is there in that place where nothing is at. The truth is there in the leaf and the branch, the sun above and the shadows of the trees. Birds from various tribes visit and cajole each other. The sound and the light, and on occasion, the fury. The earth reaches its hands toward heaven. Its sky provides a deluge of melancholic teardrops in the guise of rain. A truth that is known only to me, dwelling amongst the tombstones of the dark hallways of the mind, the place where insanity lurks, where gods and angels and demons battle for souls, collecting them away in woven baskets, displaying them in the trophy chambers of their celestial mansions. They say that the train used to stop here. The station sign was big and bright. Red letters greeted all to Idlewild. I see only rubble where a station once stood, and rails that once led off into the horizon. Connect the place to all realms of beyond. Steel rails unyielding and still here, holding vigil for a schedule that is long since vanished. During the time of the drought, the rain was not, and prayers were vapor. Hunger became the order of the day. The eyes of the men became hollow and empty. The soil begged for forgiveness. God relented for the sake of the creatures that live in the undergrowth. In the bitter sun, they prayed for rain. The corn was dying, gasping in the July heat. The oracle foretells the coming lean years. Why had the Almighty sealed the heavenly firmament? Questions unknown except the coming deprivations. So they prayed for rain. Discourse was considered, and they prayed for mercy. Pity was their reward, and it began to rain. Measure for measure, the corn survived. In the counting house, the truth became known. There was no overabundance, and there was no shortage. Measure for measure, each man reaped what he had sown. Measure for measure. We knew of no other name, calling them locusts. The early risers climbed mid-tree and began their song. Slowly the horde emerged from the decades of slumber, coming forth as Lazarus by the call of the Master. Unknown to us, a purpose or their reading of the stars. Out of the earth, then abandoning material forms, spirits on winged victory, away to their heavenly realm. Praying for rain a lifetime ago, a former time, the former times are now. The anguish of our own souls transcends what was, what is yet to be. Without the rain, we are not. Deeply, the thirst inhabits our being, the soil, and the soil becomes dust. The soil and the souls become dust. Once to the river I did journey, that great city and mystery of the ages, vibrant illumination in the velvet black night. The graves burst open and the demons kicked themselves free, bursting the stones of their vault. The tracks went on, meandering like the river itself, joining Idlewild to the great city of light. Half time in a fortnight did the belching steel beast assault the stoic tracks, slowing to a crawl, then to a full stop. Servo switches exhaled great breaths of steam into the line. Morning sun melted the dying land. Now, without strength or conviction, they prayed for rain, begging God for relief, corn dying while other crops wept tears of dust. Pity us, O Lord, for we are sinners and fall short. Our souls and our crops are dying. Beneath the soil and the decaying leaf lie the bones of the others. Here before us, testament to their time, stone tools and weapons made of rock, unknown to us, the books of records sprouting in the mist long after the past was gone, the stones of remembrance. My mind is drawn to the train station, a few old benches beckoning travelers to sit, a great rumbling cacophony off in the distance. The train approached Idlewild. The ground shakes and the travelers rise into the rising sun and onward, eastward toward that great city and the rising sun. From this town, from this cornfield, waiting at the station. Father, where is your burial? Am I nearby? Are our graves side by side? I know not where I rest. On judgment day will we look each other in the eye? My death, great sojourner, vacant and vacuous, alone and lonely. Darkness and the counting of hours and centuries, cold earth embracing my soul. Once the gallows stood here, morbid and straight. A stairway compelled the chosen onward and upward. Built at the crossroads on gently rising land, the hangman's rope gave way to grazing cattle and pastoral calm. In its corner, like a grave, mandrake marks the spot where the roads cross, roads dissecting cornfields and pasture. Graying hair and falling leaves, dusting of snow, hurtling towards the end. Under the soil of Idlewild, black, rich soil and inky night. The dark of the moon, light, hesitates. Endless cycle of life and death, rebirth and full moons are coins in the pockets of old men. Mysterious concoction, ancient corked bottles, mixtures known only to a few. Elixir of life, the fountain of youth, healing touch of an angel, neutralizer of pain, panacea of the ages. Silver coins thrown about on an old table, drink a toast and a cheerful hoorah. Canine soul prowl and patrol. From where did you come, great mastiff? Your cousins the hounds, always with us, eating our bread and sharing our woes, never wilting from duty, always on call, ever vigilant companion spirit. In the shade of the giant oak, mistletoe in its heavenly abode, ancient beast of the sky, settle in your hairy branches, some looking up, some looking down. Temple of Diana, Balder, golden bouquet, tall, strong, resilient, lone oak in the grove, silent sentry casting a shadow black as death. Two leaves growing side by side, taking separate paths at the behest of a chill fall wind, driven onward by the northerly force, separating from each other in that winter death, one rising to fantastic heights, the other plummeting to earth with great haste, yet both finally settling in the cool soil, becoming again the cycle of life. All right, let's stop right there and we'll pick it up in part 3.